So for this presentation, it will be me starting very little, and then my team will take over. So I request Elius, Basil, and Aisha to be prepared. So I represent Aquatech. It's about 6 years back, we fell in love with Frappe and ERPNext. And we have been making that happen for the users since that time. And our first customer went live in February of 2019. And we couldn't have done that, and we did not do that without having the first app developed, which is a customer-specific functionality for Tanzania. Now, this terminology of customer-specific functionality, we picked it up from another ERP software called Epicor, and we understood how it actually helps a lot of countries in Europe and US. And it turned out that nobody had taken care of that for any ERP throughout Africa. That was sad. And we saw that opportunity, right? Because a problem is an opportunity in the way. And we went ahead and did that. It was obviously open source so that people could contribute, and it helped us immensely to move forward, immensely. We can't understand how we could have done that without the solution. So we'll do some demos, and then I'll pick up the boring stuff afterwards. Elius, please join in.
Yeah, my name is Elius Mgani. I am a lead developer from Aquatech Limited. Yeah, actually I need to explain my journey. I started as a Django developer back then in 2018 in one of the company. And after like 2 years, I joined Aquatech, which was on the late 2020 and 2021. From that time, I started learning Frappe, got challenges, understand things, finding things, self-learning, and everything. From that time, I got a lot of things. I earned a lot of knowledge. Until now, I am the leader of the technical team. Even now, there are few things that we are learning, even myself, from the team, also guiding the team to have a good path when doing the development, gathering the requirement and everything. Also on the part of philosophical work, most of time we have developers meeting whereby we ask each other like, okay, now we have this procedure, what do you think? What to change so as we can improve our development workflow? And that helps us a lot up to this moment. Actually, we are much faster in development because of having that tendency of asking ourselves or evaluating ourselves. So right now, let me back to the Tanzania compliance. We have two products, custom apps. One is VFD TZ, and the other is VFD provider. VFD provider is to communicate with Tanzania Revenue Authority via the third part, the certified third part. Like TRI has allowed some of the company to communicate with them direct. So you as IT company, instead of communicating with the TRI, you have to pass through another middleman. So that is for that. VFDTZ is allowing to communicate with the TRI direct without the third part. So we have both of them. So for now, let me focus on the VFD providers. And in the VFD providers, we have integrated with three major certified third part, which is Total Solution, Simplified VFD, and VFD Plus. But what is video physical device? You know, back then, Tanzania Tax Revenue Authority had implemented a way that you can have a device, buy a physical device, physical machine, then you communicate with the, you connect with the PC, then you print from that device. There was a lot of challenges, So in order to avoid those challenges, cost and everything, now you have introduced something which is a software-based solution which can allow businesses to generate, sign, submit, receipt, taxes automatically. That's where the visual physical device take place. Now, how many months or years or days or hours will you need for you to start signing, submitting, generating receipt? Actually, with the VFD provider, you don't need a lot of hours if you just get a username and password. So the setup requirement just you need to set the, I don't know if you can see my cursor, something here. Sorry. Yes, here. On your item tax template, you should set there, like this tax template will apply 18%, will be zero rated, will be special relief, and will be exempted. After that, get username and password, you are done. So if you get username and password, you finish this setup, you can just start using or sending or signing and generating the invoice directly to TRA. And this is the setup whereby you paste your username and password, and you can try getting the token. Also, there is a VFD start date. You know, sometimes you can meet with the customer who has already generated the invoices with that machine for some years back. So when shifting to ERP, he or she may need to have those invoices into the system as a record. So you don't want to send them again. So you should start somewhere. That's why we have that VFD start date. Also, the enable preview, VFD preview, other clients want to view how it will look like after you successfully submit the invoice. So that checkbox is for that. Like, I want to view what is the numbers, what will be the actual amount, the actual tax. So that is for that. Okay, what are the changes going to be seen on the transaction? This is on the sales invoice. So when you install the app, you will start to see a section called the VFD details, which will have VFD status and all those information, if it is auto-generated, if it is not VFD invoices, because there are other invoices that are not to send to tax authority, and there is other invoices which are supposed to be sent. So, you will see this kind of information so as to give you a good part to separate the invoices. So when you successful send, you see the difference here. We don't have much information here, but you see the status is not sent, but successful send, it will have this status of VFD status of successfully. Okay, we have also reports whereby instead of going to one invoice and see which one was successful, gone, or which one did not. You have the report like this, whereby you can filter by status, what time did it go, and what time was it processed. And sometime or other clients, they have that habit of generating the invoice, but they want to send it after some time. So we have the background job which will collect those invoices and send it to them, to the TRI. So after some time, you need to check that I generated the invoices like 1,000 invoices before. How many has successfully gone? That's why we have this report. Also, it is important to have a QR code being seen on the print format, so as the customer who purchased something from the client will be able to validate if the invoice has successfully sent to TRI. Okay, I was supposed to receive questions here, but I will receive at the end. So we also have something called Zanzibar compliance, ZRI VFMS. This, we know there is Tanzania and we have Zanzibar. They have two different systems and some regulations and whatever. So in Zanzibar, you just need to you need just to communicate directly with your server, and you need just to know VFD, seaport, stamp duty. These are the categories that they have, and this VAT is just the normal sales, commercial sales. The customer comes to your business, purchase something, and goes. But this seaport is it's related to passengers who maybe travel outside the country and who also comes in the country. And this stamp duty is also one of the category, like legal documents, signing, and maybe also transfer of ownership, transfer of properties. The difference with the Tanzania compliance here is not going by item tax template, because they just want the amount you are selling. Then they will calculate themselves. So that's why I say no tax template based configuration. Here also you have ZRI setting, where you need the integration ID and you need their token. If you have that, done. Just 5 minutes, you are starting using, you are starting signing the invoices. What is the changes you will see? You see such kind of section, ZRI, and it will be based on that tax status. If it was successful, you will see it. So let me show you just 2 minutes how you can successfully send the invoice to ZRI. This actually is a setup. You can keep the type or category of the tax, and then integration. These are the good part of this. These are endpoints. Actually, they are pre-fills. Maybe if later there will be changes, you can come and edit here. But when you create new, it will have those being filled automatically. Again, there is ZRI start date, as I explained on the Tanzania compliance. It is for same purpose. This is the one which has already been configured. And you can see the base URL and the tax type and the same endpoints. Now, here you are just creating an invoice normally as how you are creating every day, selecting customer, and you will submit normal. But after submitting, you will notice another button of sending tax will appear after you submit. Then click the button and everything is done. So let's wait when you submit. Here it means that if you tick that it is non-taxable, means that invoice will not be sent to ZRI. And there is a good purpose for that. So after it is submit, okay. Yes, then you will see the button, send to tax. There is a configuration that you can allow it to send automatically when you submit, but others, they don't want it to be automatic. They want it to be just, they can come and review it later, so that's why we keep the button. Also, after you submit, you see the status has changed to success, and we have a log which store everything. When you send the payload you're sending and the response that coming from the tax authority. It is good to have that because after 1 year when the authority comes to do the UAT, it starts saying like, okay, this invoice, it is not reaching to us. Okay, but why did you give this response? So you need to have that kind of record being stored. So after here, this is the end. Thank you for listening to me. If you have a question, okay. So I think no question. Let me welcome my colleague, Basil Simfuke. Welcome.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Basil Lucas Simfukwe. I'm a functional consultant. Let me just start to tell you my journey. My journey started when I joined Aquatech Limited as an entry-level position as a functional consultant. I started there, I didn't know about the ERPNext, and then I started learning there to understand the business process and also to understand the ERPNext workflow. And after that, I continued learning. And then, okay, no problem. Yes, I continued learning there, and now I serve as a functional consultant at Aquatech Limited. So again, I want to share about the Mauritius compliance that we have done as Aquatech Limited. So we have done Mauritius compliance in collaboration with Karim J Informatics. So this is how it works. That means when you submit the sales invoice, in sales invoice submission, so it automatically transmit the invoice to Mauritius Revenue Authority, and then it is returning back the invoice reference or QR code. Okay. But again, so what they set up and requirements required here, we have CSF MU settings where you can set all your credentials and all the API and password where you can set here, and all the token you can set here in CSF MU settings. But again, on the transmission changes, that means that when you submit the sales invoice, what's happened, the invoice are sent to MLA automatically, and when there is any changes, so when you are doing the credit note or debit note, so it will reference the original fiscalized invoices, and then there's no any changes. And after that, if you have a back processing, you can select more than 500 invoices in one request. But again, this is invoice status where you can see the status for MRA if it is success, and you can see here the code and the link here. But again, here we have MRA invoice log where you can come here to see all the requests. This is a log for all the requests here at the end of the year when the audit comes. So you can see here all the invoices logs. If there is any rejection or an error, it's so that you can review here what was the reason or what was the any issue here. So this is a GitHub repository. Yeah. So I will receive the question later on. So we have this country-specific functionality. We have, I'm going to talk about the CSFTZ bank charges. This is a specific localization that we have done about the automation of bank charges process in Tanzanian business process. You know, in Tanzania, for every transaction, you need to record bank charges. So we have come with this solution so that to make sure all the accountant be able to record their bank charges. You know, here, when you record the bank charges for each transaction, that means you have massive transactions, so the accountant are skipping to record the transaction. They are, at the end of the month, they record one back entry so to cover everything. But this is safety, these charges, we have come with this one so that to make sure all the transaction and individual transaction for bank charges, for each bank charges, are uploaded automatically in the system, and then to make sure to don't skip any of the transaction, and to make sure to do a later on bank to do a clear bank reconciliation. This was the old way when they are doing. They were supposed to record transaction for each individual transaction bank charges one by one. So they lead to skip the individual entry and also later on to fail to do the bank reconciliation. So after we come with this CSFTZ bank charges, so you don't need to record each individual bank charges. So what you need to do, you need to have your bank statement and to list all your charges if you have your Excel sheet, and then you can upload it and submit it automatically, even if you have a bag of your transaction for each individual bank charges. Setup and requirement, what you need to have in the system, you need to have your bank account, and then you have to set your bank supplier. And then after that, you need to have an item as a bank charges that will be able to make sure you're successful get this CSFTZ bank charges. So I have video here. Oh. Okay. So I uploaded the video here to show all the process for this CSFTZ bank charges. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Hi, everyone. So, my name is Aisha Ramadhani, and I work at Aquatech Limited in Tanzania. So, I have been working in Aquatech as an ERPNext consultant in 1 year. So, at first, I thought it was not going to be easy being an ERPNext consultant, but I can say it's worth it and it's the best decision I ever made. So I'll be talking about two specific stock reports, which are CFTZ stock movement report and stock reconciliation troubleshoot. So CFTZ stock movement is the movement which helps us see the movements of items within our warehouse in a specific period of time. This report was created after we faced some problems while doing audits, internal audits or external audits. So instead of going or roaming around the system, passing through different reports, purchase reports, sales reports, stock ranges, and stock balances, we created this report which will be showing us all the movement in one place. So as you can see here, this is the report before filtering. So as you can see, we are having filters, which is the company, from date, to date, item group, and warehouses. So when I set my filters to from date and to date, this is the way it is going to show me. So if you want to filter, maybe you want to see for a specific item, then you just add an item as a filter, and then it will be showing you how this movement, how this item has moved from the day we received it, or from the opening balances to the closed balances. As you can see, I filtered from the 1st January of 2026 to yesterday's date. As you can see here, there are different items, and then the first column is the date, item, and the stock UMs. And then here we have opening quantities. As you can see from the items list, some of the items are having opening quantities, and some of them are not having opening quantities. As you can see, opening quantities is done in the stock reconciliation as the balances which we are opening to start our businesses. Yeah? And for purchase quantities, it shows us how many quantities have been purchased in the system from the filter date range. And there are values as well. Also the sold quantities and the sold values, and how many quantities have been adjusted and its values, as well as for the reconciliations quantity. It shows the reconciliation quantities as well as the reconciliation values, as well as for, you can see we're having also consumed quantities and the values. This is the part where it shows us how many times, how many quantities we have used this item doing manufacturing. This is specifically for the items which are used as raw materials in manufacturing stock entry. Also, after the consuming, we're having produced the quantity, what we have manufactured. It shows here. So for the specific items, it will show you how many times you have, how many quantities you have produced in a specific date range, the date which you have filtered, as well as the values, and the received quantities also have received quantities. This is what we have received in this period of time, also the values, as well as we have issued quantity, issued values, what we have issued in this period of time, and also the last part is closing quantity. It shows that after all the movements we have done in this period, what is our closing quantity? So it shows that how many quantities we have closed in this quantity. So this helps us in when we are doing maybe audits, internal or external audits. So if we want to consume time, we won't be roaming around the system, going to different reports, maybe purchase reports or stock ledgers, seeing the movements, or going to the invoices and checking the amount of, the transaction which has been done in that period of time. So we'll just come use this stock movement report, which will be helping us to see all the movements which have been done in this period of time. Yeah. So the other report is stock reconciliation troubleshoot report. So this is report which was built for the aim of showing us the items which have been reconciled multiple times within a specific period of time also. So we normally use stock reconciliation transaction to adjust our quantities to match our physical quantities and the system quantities. But what it happens, and why do we use stock reconciliation? We just don't use reconciliation for a short period of time, multiple reconciliation for a short period of time. When we see one item is being reconciled for a very short period of time, maybe it's more than one time, so it shows that maybe we are having discrepancies in our companies, or we are having some audit problems. So for us to see which item has been reconciled multiple times, we'll be using this stock reconciliation troubleshoot report. So as you can see, this is how it shows. When we open the report, we have to fill the from date and to date to see the items. So after filtering the dates, I'll be seeing the posting date of these transactions as well as the posting time. Stock reconciliation, this is the part we see how many reconciliation have been passed for these items. As you can see here, we have the first item, we have 2 reconciliation passed. Also we have the column which shows the quantity values which have been reconciled from the first reconciliation and the second reconciliation. The warehouse which has been reconciled. And the last part is the total amount difference from these reconciliations. Yeah, so this is what I had to show you. Thank you.
Thank you, Aisha. So now I'll go into the boring part before we break for the tea. Let me quickly take you through what the philosophy is about CSFTZ, the country-specific functionality, and when we are going to be, as a community, bringing Frappe ERPNext utilization in Africa, it's one of the ideas that we can deliberate on and then see how we can move it further. One of the points I would like Muchai you to note is that VFD providers is like one app, multiple providers, something we can do accordingly. We have different controllers for all of them there. So in the country-specific functionality and aspect, I don't even know how to implement ERPNext in a country without having the functionality in place, because it becomes so much more difficult job to configure this for each and every customer. 100+ customers, you have to do the same thing again and again, doesn't make sense. And therefore, in the country that you have and you provide the services in, or you are implementing it for yourself, you need a country-specific functionality so that you can benefit out of it. So that's the concept. And there are many times people ask us, it's an international software, does it work for us? Because it is about the country that you are operating in. Does it work in Tanzania? Has it worked in Tanzania? At times we get asked this question. And do we have a better compliance? That is why Muchai exampled the multiple compliance that they have done. So it definitely enables fast onboarding, the standardization of support, and the time it takes to get you up and running is much faster. It also gives us an idea of using a pre-packaged solution. So that's something that we'll talk about. For the lack of a better word, you used attack, it's just in the news. So the areas that we need to work on is, I would say that any country requires specific fiscalization, specific taxation, specific the payment integrations. Maybe you will have payment integration across countries, but generally there are very specific integrations per company, like the MomoPay in the Uganda and M-Pesa in Kenya and Celcom in Tanzania. Payroll compliance should be there. Chart of accounts should be specific to the country. The bank and bank statement formats we were discussing a bit earlier, that every bank has their own format. The formats are not standard. We need to have it pre-populated. We can't be doing this hard work again and again. So every country-specific functionality should have this ready in place. Print formats which are required, like the QR code you saw for Tanzania, requires to have a receipt verification number and the time on top and bottom of the QR code. So this kind of compliance should be there in each and every of the country's apps. Statutory reports are there, some have specific excise duty management reports to be uploaded, some have returns and stuff like that. So I'll go through each of them as an example. Fiscalization, we saw the examples and we saw many others from Navari as well. Taxation example, we got VAT, we got reduced VAT and mobile payments in Tanzania. If you make a mobile payment, it's 16% VAT. So now a mode of payment determines whether you have a 16% VAT or an 18% VAT to improve the digital money. Withholding tax per line item is coming in, it's in version 16, but in version 15 it wasn't there. Withholding VAT is a very specific requirement, and excise duty, as I mentioned. Payment integrations, we saw how M-Pesa from Navari has helped Kenya, and we are doing similar thing in Tanzania with Celcom. The payroll example that I can talk about that we need to have pre-populated are the salary components, salary accounts itself, the structure assignments, because in our country in Tanzania, you can have your pensions voluntary after an age of 60. So it should be somehow per employee configuration. And if it makes sense and makes it easy for a user to adapt the solution, if it is talking their language, right? If it talks somebody else's language which is not understandable, then it becomes difficult for self-implementation as well. The payroll expenses are standard expenses, and different countries have their own account, like NITA is in Kenya, and WCF and SDL is in Tanzania. The importation has a different sets of importation accounts, and we should have our accounts, chart of accounts pre-populated, so that we don't have to do this as part of configuration. The users don't have to go through that suffering either. And the asset categories is another unique aspect in any implementation in a country. Every country categorizes their assets, and their depreciation methods are predefined and are supposed to be followed. This has to be pre-populated, as well as the accumulated depreciation accounts. And the bank statements we talked about, there are just numerous examples. There is absolutely no bank statement format standardizations by the central banks, making it difficult for bank reconciliations to be done by each and every accountant. So these are the things that we need to have pre-populated, so that when the user gets on board, the banks are ready and the bank formats are there. And I'm sure with Mint, you'll be picking up from there and then importing it accordingly. The print formats are many of types. We see Navari has done for a lot of payroll-related print formats. And there are many things in even Uganda that can be done. Statutory reports can be exported and somehow uploaded to your tax authority website. So these are other opportunities that we can go ahead and take it further. In CSFTZ for Tanzania, we have tried to pick it up as we go further, but now we realize it's about time for a review and do a more comprehensive addition of such reports into the system. Integrations, we had very, very good success in helping customers to automatically be alerted when their vehicle is fined, because a lot of transport companies that use our solution would have many hundreds of trucks. Now the drivers would not alert it because the fine has been raised on that name. And if you don't pay in 7 days' time, there is a certain percentage that you get charged. To avoid that, the business that wanted to get alerted timely. And so we had things like police fines, the insurance covers for alerting for expired of insurances. So in Tanzania, we have this government websites allowing us to pick up the data and then put it into the ERP and then start using the fantastic notification rules to get it to the users, or auto email reports used for data that has come through. So going 5 minutes already. I think the whole idea is to have how to improve the onboarding of users, and one of the things is having prepackaged with such aspects. That reduces the amount of effort you have to put in place. So Thank you for taking time. We hope that the community will get together. Let's keep a set of apps which are always contributed to, rather than having multiple apps developed and creating a more technical debt as a overall. Thank you very much.